Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Shulchan Aruch Yomi, the fourth shir in this unbelievable, revolutionary new program that's taking over Klal Yisrael. It's starting a new cycle, Shulchan Aruch, a simon a day, 5 days a week. So tomorrow's the last day for this week. I get a vacation for 2 days. What better cycle to give yourself a vacation for 2 days a week? That's great. You have a weekend. All right. It's a big simon Dalid. We're going to learn Dalid is about Dinei Netilas Yadayim. We're talking about non-Netilas Yadayim for when you eat bread. You have to wash your hands. This is Netilas Yadayim in the morning. When you get up, everyone knows a common minhag is you wake up, you wash your hands, each hand 3 times. We're going to get into that, different halachas about that. Let's start with Aleph. When you wake up in the morning, you should wash your hands. You make the bracha al netilas yadayim. Now, the reason for netilas yadayim we'll discuss more in the Ian shir on Shulchan Aruch, which will be right after this. That's a very important shir to listen to help you understand this. I'm going to discuss it briefly here, the reasons behind this, but there's a lot of nafkaminas, a lot of practical ramifications depending on which reason you follow. What is the reason that you wash your hands when you wake up in the morning? So the Rush is one of the main Rishonim who has an opinion about this. He says that people, when they sleep, their yadayim askanios him, your hands are very busy. Usually, it's my understanding that basically the Lashon, the Shulchan Aruch, and the Torah is that people slept without any clothes on. They slept naked. So when you sleep naked, your hands are going to touch your body, and they touch places that are sweaty, places that are dirty in your body. So just like if you touch something dirty during the day, you touch soa or something like that, feces or excrement, whatever you want to call it, you touch it during the day, so you have to wash your hands if you want to daven. You want to say Kriya Shema daven. That's basically what Netilas Yadayim was done for. It's basically just a way, because you made your hands dirty at night, so they're masakin, and it's always going to happen. You're going to make your hands dirty, even if you think they're not. So therefore, they're masakin Netilas Yadayim. Now, obviously, if you stayed up all night, or you wore clothes to sleep, right? They don't really talk about this so much, but this really is practical. Only the Rush, there would be no reason wash your hands in the morning. According to the Rashba, he introduces a new concept. He says that they're masakin this netilas yadayim in the morning because you become a beri chadasha, you become a new creation in the morning. You get your neshama back. You lose your neshama at night. You get it back in the morning. Right? Modani l'fanecha. You say that Hashem return your neshama to you. When you return your neshama, you become a beri chadasha, and you had tuma. At night, you have tuma. You have tuma now. Now you can bring you have tuma now on your hands. You have to remove that, and that's what I'm talking about. It's nothing to do with saying brachos or kriya shema. 2 totally different reasons. They're going to have 2 totally different ramifications for halacha. Anyway, the consensus is you have to wash it if you went to sleep without clothes, and you went to sleep at night. You're beri chadasha during the night. See how long you have to sleep. So you have to wash your hands and say al netilas yadayim. Now, if you do not have water to do this, they say you should rub your hands on something, on a piece of wood or something like that, or even your clothes. It would clean your hands, and you could actually make a bracha al nekiyas yadayim. The Rosh says. I think we all look this halacha. You can make al nekiyas yadayim. That's if you do not have water. If you do have water, then you're supposed to use water and do it 3 times. You should also say in the morning asher yatzar. Even if you didn't, the minhag is interesting minhag. You can eat in the morning when you wake up in the morning. There's a lot of brachos to say in the siddur. You say asher yatzar, even if you did not go to the bathroom the whole night. Even in the morning, you didn't go to the bathroom. You didn't have to urinate in the morning. You still say asher yatzar because you're a yitzira chadasha. Because asher yatzar is also on the fact that you're able to relieve yourself, but also yitzira saguf. Alakai neshama, you're thanking Hashem for your neshama. And Asher Yatzar on the creation of the goof. This is a big chiddush. I would say this chiddush only applies according to the Rashba, but this seems the Ramah passing halacha according to everybody. You say Asher Yatzar even if you didn't go to the bathroom in the morning. Now, Mayim Apsulim Tilas Yadayim Lasuda, Aksherim Latilas Yadayim Latfila. Now, there's a big discussion what water you can use. In Hilchos, washing your hands before a meal, before eating bread, there are certain halachas of how you wash your hands, and it's based on Maseches Yadayim, which talks about the Tara for eating truma. Which is based, the way we eat bread is based on in purifying your hands for, just like you have to purify the halacha from the Gemara, you have to purify your hands for eating truma. They're masakin also for eating bread. You have to do this, and that has to be similar to the tara of eating truma. So certain waters are not good for that. For example, soda or things like that, they're not really water. To wash it with things like that, you're not allowed to do that. But for this thing, since according to the Rush, it's just to cleanse your hands, it's not for tara, for purity, it's just for cleaning. So therefore, you can use any waters. But there is an opinion that you don't make a bracha on them, because this would probably be according to the Rashba, I'm assuming. The Rashba says that it's because of Tara, you're Tameh when you wake up in the morning. So you have to matar yourself, just like you have to matar yourself when you wash your hands for bread, for eat bread, because it's part of like eating truma. So there's Tara over there. So therefore you would need all the need. This would be an afternoon between the Rush and the Rashba. Do you need it to be all the dinim Netilas Yadayim? So if you have water that would not be good for Netilas Yadayim for a Suda, you should not make a bracha for Netilas Yadayim in the morning. You have to pour 3 times the Haver Ruach HaRosh Shora Aleim. This obviously does not apply according to the Rush, but it's right according to the Rush it would just be 1 time. There's no reason to pour 3 times. But if it's for Tuma and Tara, 3 times. This is based on a Rashi Masechah Shabbos. When you get to this, is I think the Rashi Masechah Shabbos, the Gemara Masechah Shabbos is a source for the Rashba. You're gonna have to wait for Ian in Shulchan Aruch to figure that out more deeply. Gimel. Before you wash your hands in the morning, there's also from the Gemara in Shabbos and Avkov that your hands should be cut off before you wash your hands in the morning, because seemingly they're tamei in the morning. You can't touch your mouth, and you can't touch your nose, and you can't touch your eyes, and not your ears. These all have openings into your body, and you're going to be matame your body, so therefore it's a sakana for them. You shouldn't do it. It seems like it's the lashon of the Gemara, your hand should be cut off. The sakana doesn't mean it's aser. Sakana, the Gemara says sometimes it's worse than aser. So ask a rabbi. It also says in the Gemara, this is tangential what the Shulchan Aruch is bringing over here. Even in the middle of the day, you shouldn't touch a hole in your anus a lot. Because I think it means hemorrhoids. If you ever had blood taken out, if you had people take blood, they call it bloodletting, but I would say also taking a sample of blood from people go to the doctor and they need to have a blood test. You shouldn't touch the place where they put the needle in, because it hurts the wound. That's also part of the Gemara in Shabbos. Hey, you got begigi sheikhar. You also shouldn't touch, even if your hands are clean, you shouldn't touch a barrel of beer. It ruins the sheikhar. Putting your hand in there, it ruins the beer. You don't need a revius, even though the halacha is for Netilas Yadayim for your suda, you need a revius. You need at least a revius is, some say 3.3 ounces, some say the Chazon Ish said 5 ounces. You don't need that. Even if it's less than that, you can do it because of b'di'evet we passing like the Rush, that as long as you clean your hands, even if you clean your hands, it's not a Netilas Yadayim l'suda. B'di'evet we passing like the Rush, it's just cleaning your hands. So even less than a revius would be good enough for that. Zion. Even though we said Mikra Din, we pass like the Rush. That's what it sounds like. That you don't need those things, all the chumras that you do for Netilas Yadayim for the meal. But it's good to have them. And the Rama explains some of the things are not ma'akiv. You don't need a kli. For example, you could take a faucet and put your hands under the faucet. That would be give a little koach gavra. Even you don't even need the power of a person. Let's say water is coming down from your roof. You put your hands under the water, even though it's not good for Netilas Yadayim for a meal. It would be good for the morning. We'll see. We'll get there in Hilchos Netilas Yadayim for Suda. That's later on, 192, I think. Chet Netilas Yadayim Shahras Enotan Al Gabe Karka. Netilas Yadayim in the morning, you shouldn't pour on the ground. Elatoch Kli. That's why people have these baskets, these buckets. They put the water into and they make sure that they bring it carefully to the sink and pour it out, because according to the Rashba, you're taking off tuma from your hands. According to that sheet, since you're taking off tuma from your hands, so therefore the water becomes tamei. The tuma goes from your hands to the water, and therefore it's sakana for people to touch this water. It's metame them also. Based on this rash, but you can't get enough of them. Again, you shouldn't pour it in a place where people pass by because it's sakana for them. It's tamei. Anything which is tamei brings sakana. This is mostly from the Zohar. This is the makor, the Be'er Agola brings from the Zohar. I believe it's based on a Gemara, based on the Rashba. I think there's two. The Rashba and the Rosh are coming from two different Gemaras. Yud notel kli shalmayim biyad yamino, unosnal yad smolo. This I believe is not advice. I don't believe this is halacha. You should take it. You should take it in your right hand because the right is gvura. This is what the Mishnah Gvura brings. Gvura is your right hand, and chesed is small. So gvura, you want to be stronger than chesed. So therefore, you give it to your right hand. You pour it. You fill it up in your right hand. Give it to your left hand and pour it on the right hand. The right hand comes first because the right hand is gvura. This is all Zohar. This is all Kabbalah. We don't necessarily pass this halacha. You shouldn't, someone else who didn't wash his hands shachar, so his hands are tamei, so he shouldn't pour the water on your hands. That'll in turn make your hands keep your hands tamei and won't remove the tumah. Yud beis let's say you had a kli filled up with water. Instead of pouring on your hand, you put your hand into the water. Also, lo netila the kriyash malatfila, but the evid it would be good according to the rush because it cleanses your hands. It's not called netila design for tara like for a suda, which would be necessary for the rashba. Avalo the ruach rasha line. It doesn't take off the ruach ra, which is the rashba is worried about. Him shichach yadav begimel memos mechulafim. So you had 3 cups of water. You put your hand into 3 of them, and I guess 3 ones for your left hand also. Even the rashba. Maybe it wouldn't be because it's based on Netilas Yadayim at the meal, and there you have to pour on them. We know for Netilas Yadayim at the meal, if you stick your hand in water, it's not clear if you'd be Yotzei, that's good enough to allow you to eat bread with them. Yud Gimel, Imhaya Neir Kol Alayla. This is prevalent coming up on Shavuos. People stay up all night on Shavuos. Yeshli Stapik Imsarach Lital Yadav Shachras Lispal Lahavi Ruach Rami Yadav. It's a suffix the Shulchan Aruch says whether you have to wash your hands in the morning to take off the ruach ra, because on the one hand, according to the Rush's reasoning, you wouldn't have to because the Rush says you sleep naked, but you're not sleeping naked. You had your clothes on the whole night. So according to the Rashba, technically, it's really a suffix in the Rashba himself because the Rashba says that you're a birya chadash, you're a new creature, and therefore your hands become tamei because you got your neshama back. Yeah, your neshama actually become tamei, sort of. I'll have to explain that in HaMishnah, in Shulchan Aruch. But either way, here you stayed up all night. Is it sleep which makes you tamei, or is it the birya chadash? You become a birya chadash even if you didn't go to sleep. Do you lose your neshama if you're awake the whole night? So that would be the suffix over here. It seems to me it would be a sveika. That's what would be according to the Rashi. For sure, don't have to wash your hands. According to the Rashba, it's a suffix. Be a sveika. Be lakul. You shouldn't have to wash your hands. But the Ramah says not like Hago Yitlein below bracha. He says even if it's sveika, you should wash them below without a bracha. You dalid, make a bracha because we're not sure if you have any opinions that would agree that you should be no till your dime in the morning. You dalid hishkim chodom shachar. Let's say you woke up in the middle of the night before shachar, before dusk, before dawn. I'm sorry, not dusk, before dawn. Benatal yadav. This is 72 minutes before nates. Yeshli stopping him sarach lital yadav hamacheres. And then you did wash your hands. Now again, it becomes amud shachar. Again, according to the Rush, right, you washed them for when you woke up, when you got out of bed, when you were sleeping naked, so your hands touched, you already washed them for that. According to the Rush, you don't need to wash them again. According to the Rashba, again, it's not really a sfik. According to the Rashba, it's a suffix, because maybe, even though you were awake, right, the fact that you're awake before dawn, and then dawn comes, maybe dawn is what brings the tuma on your yadayim, so it would go back onto your yadayim. So therefore, again, it really is fake. The Ramah says it should be notal b'li bracha. Tedvav yashen bayom. Let's say you sleep during the day. A lot of people have the minute to sleep during the day, siesta. Usually stopping aros ma'im alein shalosh pamim. V'yitlein b'lo bracha. Again, we're not sure. So the halacha, the Ramah says practically, you should notal 3 times. All these times we're talking about a suffix 3 times without a bracha. Again, this would depend on the Rishonim over here, right? For sure, according to the Rush, if you sleep without clothes on, so maybe you have to make a bracha. According to that only be if you're davening. It's mazakin it for a kriyash shema tefillah, so you're gonna daven mincha, so you have to do it. According to the Rashba, again, is it the night or is it the sleep? Right? We're not really sure. The Rashba is not really sure what is the tuma, right? No, he's talking about a case you slept that night, you woke up after dawn, then you have tuma on your yadayim. But if you slept during the day, maybe you don't. Ted Zion, David Hayad Nizar Shalishon Shisa Nishmin. David was very careful. He wouldn't sleep 60 snores or 60 breaths at one time. Pirashishin the Shimos, 60 breaths. Kadesh Litam Tamisa. It's clear from the Gemara and Brachos that the Mishabura brings that he would do this. He would go to sleep. In the beginning of the night, he would wake up before Chatzos. Actually, the Mishabura brings that David himself, even in the night, he was careful. The Gemara is bringing in Sukkah, the Gemara on Chavav there says that any person should be careful not to sleep 16 nishmin during the day. It's very interesting that you can't sleep during the day. The Gemara seems to say the Mishnah Berurah, the Bir Halacha, which is the deeper explanation of Shabura, he's not sure how long Shis Nishman are. It depends how Shis Nishman is. Shis Nishman 3 hours, is it 30 minutes, or is it 3 minutes? So if it's 3 minutes, you can't sleep for 3 minutes during the day. It says on the Lashon of the Gemara, it's aser to sleep Shenis Asus during the day. A lot of people are making on this. My explanation of that Gemara is that it's aser to sleep like a sus, aser to sleep just for 3 minutes. You have to sleep a nice nap. You have to take a nice nap. That's the thing where I saw about the opposite of what you think. You can't sleep like a sus. You can't sleep like a very short sleep. You have to sleep a longer sleep, which is more enjoyable. They bring this proof from the reason one of the he says maybe 3 hours because the Ari, what was his name? Luria from Tzvas, who was very big into the Zohar. He slept 3 hours on Shabbos. Shabbos isn't for 3 hours. How could he sleep 3 hours on Shabbos afternoon? A lot of people are makel on this. You're not allowed to sleep during the day. All right, Sarach Ian. But basically, I think it's mutter. There's a minhag of people to wash out their mouths because you have ririm, you have germs in your mouth. I think any normal person would brush their teeth or use mouthwash. This is just common hygiene. I think you should do this. Certain things, not just waking up in the morning, you have to wash your hands in water. Now, you only have to wash your hands 3 times. Hakama mita, the first one. You get up in the morning, that we said 3 times supposed to wash your hands based on Rashi and Shabbos. When you come out of the bathroom, even if you don't go to the bathroom, there's a ruach ra in that place in the bathroom. There's a suffix in the poskim whether our bathrooms today are considered like a base kisei of the Gemara, and therefore it will be a sveka whether you have to really wash your hands if you don't go to the bathroom. And based on merchas, when you come out of the mikvah, the men's mikvah, benotel sipornov, you go to a spa, benotel sipornov, you cut your nails, acholis minolav, you take off your shoes only if you touch your shoes. If you touch your feet, the bottom of your feet that are normally not exposed, you scratch your head. You go to a cemetery also, or you touch a dead person, or you take off bugs from your shirt. Again, someone who's together with his wife, or you touch the bug, or you touch, let's say, under your shirt, a place that's normally covered. All these things, you'd have to wash your hands. If he doesn't wash his hands, if he's Talmud Chacham, he's going to forget. It's a klola from the Gemara. He's going to forget what he learned. If he's not a Talmud Chacham, he's going to go crazy. Again, the only one you have to wash 3 times when you wake up in the morning. Some are machmir when you come out of the bathroom, but the mikvah then you don't have to wash when you come out of the bathroom. Some say also when you tash b'shamita and come out of there are machmirim. This is not everyone says this, but most people are machmir when they after tash b'shamita, after they're together with their wives. Before they say brachos, if they go to sleep, it's not a problem. You don't have to wash your hands. But if you're going to want to say tefillos, then you're going to have to wash your hands 3 times. And some say when you go to the cemetery, the minhag is to wash 3 times. Also, chaf yud ted amayk is damak the 5. Not the yadam faked shiva yamim. You take bloodlet from your shoulders, or you take a blood test from your shoulders. You're going to be afraid. The Gemara says 7 days. You shave. You didn't wash your hands. The punishment is you could be afraid 3 days. If you don't wash your hands after cutting your nail, he's going to be afraid 1 day. He doesn't know why he's afraid. Like the Gemara said, he's in Yomi diet, he'll go crazy. Chaf, I don't know if this is practical. Chaf Aruch is panav nigvim yafe. You wash your face and you didn't dry it properly. He's going to get acne or this is just practical advice. You're going to get acne if you don't wash your face. So the best way, the refuah, is to take beet water, maybe just type of medicine, a cream that you for acne. You have to be careful when you're eating in the middle of a meal that you wash for bread, or when you're davening, not to touch a covered part of your body because there's sweat over there. On your arms, on your face, you're allowed to touch places that are normally uncovered. You're allowed to touch in these places. It's not full of zayah, it's not full of sweat, and they're not dirty, and it doesn't make you dirty, and therefore you're allowed to say brachos chav beit hayimen lo ma'im kanech yada b'shor ba'afar b'chol midim menaki yivarach al nekis yadayim. Like I said before, if you don't have anything and you don't have water in the morning, and you want to go daven, so you can wipe your hands on wood or something like that, or on your shirt, and then make the bracha al nekis yadayim. And it's not going to help according to the Rashba to make it tahor. You need 3 times for that, but it will help to allow you to daven. Chav gimel lo tiknu netilas yadayim el kriya shema lo tefila. Well, brachos the shachris yachal levarech kodem netila. They're only misakin to wash your hands if you're going to say kriya shema tefila. If you want to say brachos shachris, brachos shachar, you could say before netilas yadayim, but you have to probably clean your hands because then it's Shem Hashem. Elim ken uyashem litaso arum shaz also has care Shem Achi Anaka. He's talking about obviously where you didn't go to bed naked, you went to it with clothes, so therefore according to the Rosh, your hands are not dirty. So there's no problem. Even the Rashba's moda that your hands are tamei, that's only a problem for saying Kriya Shema and Tefillah. If you just want to say Berachos HaShachar, you don't have to wash 3 times. You can just cleanse them on anything that cleanses them, as long as you don't have the rush where your hands are not dirty. See you in Ian Shulchan Aruch. We'll delve more into these reasons coming up next.